So I'm going to make scones. Now I know every person and their mother is putting up videos of scones at the moment, and that's great, you know. Everybody should be doing that anyway, should be baking, but I'm going to make gluten-free scones just in case some of you have not tried my gluten-free fluffy scone recipe, which is amazing. You have to try it, you really do. I know I use rice flour, but rice flour is very easily accessible in, I think I've seen it in practically every supermarket, Super Values, Centras, and all the big ones as well. So really get the rice flour to make it as well. Okay, so we're going to sieve in our self-raising gluten-free flour. I use Dove's Farm. Why? Because I find them really good. I get great results from them. So I'm banking on them, and I can happily recommend them to you. So that's the two types of flour gone in now, sieved in to the bowl. Sorry if I'm going off camera there. Sugar is optional. You don't have to put it in if you don't want to. It is completely up to you whether you do or not, okay? You could put a pinch of salt in as well, but that's I think maybe for less sweet scones you might do that. So give that a mix around and give me 2 ticks. I'll keep talking. The reason is because, here we go. Ta-da! I keep my butter until I absolutely have to use it. I keep the butter in the fridge so that it is cold, and that's, I think, one of the tricks, tips, whatever you want to call it, for making pastry and scones. Now, those of you that have seen my videos before, you know I use these all the time. These are the Gluten gloves, disposable gloves. They are completely biodegradable, which is why I buy them. They are a little bit more expensive than the generic brand, but you kind of have to do your little bit. So that was butter that was cubed and sitting in the fridge until it was needed, and then you simply just rub it in with your fingertips, or you can use a pastry cutter if you want as well. It's up to you which one. I kind of normally use a pastry cutter actually, but I just sort of said, here, look, I'll do it in case, you know, you don't have one. I mean, this is just to show you that it's relatively straightforward. The other ingredients are buttermilk, which I have here in the bowl, and I stuck in an egg because I've doubled up the quantities. You don't have to do that with this recipe if you don't want to, but I've a lovely man that comes and delivers eggs to me once a week. They're organic, straight from the farm, and so I always have a supply of eggs, and he's that good that on when he comes in, he used to come around 11 or so, but now he's kind of come a bit earlier in the morning. And bless him, what he does is if he sees the curtains closed in the bedroom, he leaves the eggs, a dozen eggs, by the gate. He doesn't ring the bell. He only rings the bell if he sees the curtains open. I just think that is so kind and so considerate and so nice. So anyway, look, in the time that we've had our little chat, there's the butter gone in now, so you can see there. I'm going to lift it up. So that's it there, done, ready to go. And then this is my buttercream with the egg. So I'm not going to put it all in. I'm only putting in that much of it to start off with. I use a palette knife. You can use what you want. Some people just use a large butter knife or a spoon, whatever you want. Look, as long as you get the consistency and you get the mix, that's all that matters, really. So you can see it coming together really well there. Stir it around a bit more. So yeah, there's rice flour, self-raising flour, both gluten-free, obviously. There is baking powder on top of that, because the weight, people say a lot of times about their scones, that their scones don't rise enough, and that's very true. They won't rise because it's a very heavy, doughy mixture. So it's probably not going to rise if you don't put your baking powder in. It's not like your sponge where you're whisking in all that air. You know, this is a thick dough, so of course it needs help. So that's why you put your baking powder in with your flour and stuff. Right, so what I decided to do with these was I decided to soak some cranberries in a little bit. I soaked cranberries in a bit of orange juice so that I could add them in. And the reason why I sit there and got rid of the juice is because obviously I don't want to add in extra juice into the recipe. So I'm just going to mix those in now. We love cranberries in our scones. We also love, I think is it Lidl's? Oh gosh, I'm really sorry now if I get this wrong. It's either Lidl's or Aldi. One of them does dry sweetened cherries, and they are fabulous. I just love the kind of mix of sweet and sour that you get. So I'm going to move this bit over here so that you can see it. Right, over we go, and over we go. Move those to here. Right, so gloves back on again, and you can see how wet that dough is, and I didn't add anything as much as the full amount of the recipe. I don't know why the recipe asks you to have that much in the first place. Every recipe does, and then it tells you not to use it. So I have no idea, but look, sure, at least you have it in case you might need it. So knead this a couple of times like that, just to kind of get that nice smooth sort of a result from it. Pop your little bit of flour. Again, that's a coconut flour that I am using on top. Now, the only reason I'm using the coconut flour is because I have coconut flour to spare, and I don't want to use up a lot of my gluten-free flour. I want to keep it because I, would bake a lot with it, and I've just noticed that some of it is getting a little bit short in the shops. So that's why I was using the coconut flour. So there it is, flattened out. So that's the height that we're going for. Right, we don't do delicate scones in this house. We just don't do delicate scones in the house. I have a house full of men. So scones are grand, big scones. So there they are. You can see them, right? So there's my scones now, and basically I'll just cut them out, and that's going a bit funny there. Actually, I'm just going to do that one again, just to do it. It's like Play-Doh, it's great crack. And it's a nice feeling. There's a nice sort of satisfaction to all of this, do you know? There we are. So we're going to cut them. Don't twist when you're cutting down, just press gently like that, and then what you do is pull away the extra flour, so then you can gently lift your scones onto your lined baking tray. Okay, right, so I'll take my hands off to do this. So obviously then there's your lined baking tray, your scones are on it, and then you brush the tops with beaten egg, and then pop them into the oven. So I'll pop the link under the video for you to see, but you can see the height of them, and that's kind of the way that they'll go in, and they'll sort of come out like that, a little bit bigger maybe. But as I said, look, if you want smaller ones, by all means. We just don't do delicate here in Casa Quigley. We like our scones hearty and big. So I hope that gives you a good idea of how to make the gluten-free fluffy scones, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to do, and hopefully you will pop up some of your pictures to show me your results.